Hello everyone and welcome to a video and a game where the impossible becomes possible. It is Nikolas Theodorou versus Arjun Erigaisi from round 2 of this year's Sharjah Masters, and this is the second time we're featuring Nikolas on the channel. Last time was last year when he defeated Temur Rajabov in the European Team Championship, but he spent only 2 minutes for the entire game, and he crushed a 27-45 Rajabov in a classical game. So that was incredibly impressive. If you haven't seen that game, I recommend you check it out. It's the first link in the description below, so by all means do go for it, even before watching this game. But here he faces we could say even stronger opponent via rating, as Arjun is 27-61 here. The difference here is that Arjun is the one that spent barely 0 time for this game, even though the entire opening, and it is a fairly long variation out of the opening, they blitzed everything out in a classic game. So it's beautiful what happens here. Let's check it out. Nikolas with white opens with pawn to d4. We have knight to f6, pawn to c4, e6, and now knight to f3 and d5. So the queen's gambit declined is on the board, and now we will see why so many of you have recommended this game. Knight to c3, pawn to c5, the Semi-Tarrasch defense, the 3 knights of the Semi-Tarrasch, and now c captures on d5. And there are 3 ways you can play this. You could capture on d4, on d5 with the pawn, or on d5 with the knight. Capturing with the knight on d5 is the move that is played most often. We have e4, chasing away the knight. Knight captures, b captures, and c captures on d4. C captures, bishop to b4 check, bishop to d2, and we have a captures on d2, castles, and now bishop to c4. So again, many games with this exact same position, nothing new being played here. Knight to d7, castles, and pawn to b6. And now there are even 2 games where Magnus Carlsen defeated Vladimir Kramnik with pawn to a4, but here Nikolas goes for rook a to d1, and now bishop to b7. Again, nothing new here. We have rook f to e1, knight to f6, and now queen to f4. We have rook to c8, preparing queen to c7 to offer a queen trade and put pressure on the bishop here, so that's why bishop to b3 to avoid the queen trade, queen to c7, and now queen to h4. We have pawn to h6, and now again, a lot of games with this exact same position, but here Nikolas plays pawn to h3, and it is now as of move 18 that we have a completely new game. So Arjun still has not spent a minute reaching this position. He has an hour and 31 minutes on the clock, and he started with an hour and 30 minutes, so he only gained increment, and Nikolas is already down to 1 hour and 17 minutes. So let's see what happens. Rook f to d8, developing the final piece, and it makes sense, as you know, that d5 is sort of what white wants to play. Rook to e3 and pawn to b5. Now again, the top move by Arjun, just showing why he's 27-61, playing incredible chess here. Stops a4 and prepares further expansion with pawn to a5, pawn to a4. We have pawn to d5, striking in the center, which seems like it shouldn't be possible, as the pawn, as the square is defended 4 times. But of course, Nikolas has a very straightforward idea, or maybe it's not straightforward at all. Maybe it's completely vague. D captures on e5, e captures on d5, pawn to e5 now, chasing away the knight. So you give up a pawn in order to eliminate some defenders from the black king. Knight to e4, and now even pawn to e6. Looks scary, but Arjun just plays f captures on e6. He's not worried about this at all. Knight to d4 now puts pressure on the e6 pawn, and knight to c5 just to defend the pawn and put pressure on the bishop. We have rook d to e1, and this is the position where you have to really calculate. Nikolas is already down to an hour, and Arjun still an hour and almost 20 minutes on the clock. So he's just playing incredible chess here. And the problem now, if you could eliminate the light square bishop, you'd be very happy. You've grabbed some material, and if you could play this, it'd be great. But knight captures on e6 stands in your way, because after you move the queen, there's even knight captures on g7, and now you just get destroyed because the rooks are coming up the board. Let's say king captures, rook e7 check, king f8, you're gonna play rook to e6, then queen to f6, or queen captures on h6, and you're gonna checkmate the black king. So that's the problem. So what you should play here is something like rook d7 or rook to e8 or rook to f8. However, Arjun played pawn to a5, and this is he's just not in time here. Now Nikolas' position is completely winning, but you have to play the precise move order. He plays knight captures on e6, knight captures on e6 and rook captures on e6. Okay, not the easiest to understand why this is completely winning, but I'll give you an example. Let's say you go pawn to a4 here, and why wouldn't you? You really don't want the bishop here. The problem is you cannot go to c2. The square is covered by the queen and by the rook, so you have to go back all the way to d1. And now let's say you just play rook to d7, and you say, okay, but what's the problem here? You don't have rook to e7. Am I in any real danger here? Well, the problem is bishop to h5. And again, what? Why? Why is bishop to h5 a problem? Well, let's play a move, rook to f8, and I'm only playing the top moves for black recommended by the engine. Hello, bishop to e8. And yeah, I mean, if you don't know this, and well, judging by how much time Nikolas spent getting to this position, I don't think he's still within his preparation. So he would have to find this had Arjun played pawn to a4. But the reason this is so strong is, okay, the rook is hanging. Let's say rook to d8. Now rook to e7. And after, let's say, queen to d6, rook 1 to e6. Now you can bring the rook from the back rank, as there is nothing to come to the back rank. Let's say queen f4. You put pressure on f2. You put pressure on c1, rook captures on g7 check. King captures rook to g6 with check, and that's it. You have to play king to h7 to guard the h6 pawn in order to prevent rook captures on h6, but now queen e7 check, and that's pretty much it. Rook f7 will be played. You're going to play bishop captures on f7, and after a few checks, let's say queen c1 check, king h2 check, and queen f4 check, you will play rook g3, and there is no defense from all the discoveries that are about to happen. If you try to move, then of course it's just a matter of queen captures on d8. If you try to save the rook, then it's just a matter of a discovery. So that's the problem. If you play pawn to a4, and pawn to a4 is such a reasonable move to play, it's even one of the engine's recommendations. However, here Arjun plays rook to d7, which is the top defensive idea recommended by the engine. However, it is still insufficient. We have queen to g4. And okay, what's the idea behind queen to g4? Is it rook captures on h6? Sure, seems like it. Let's see what he had in mind. Rook to f7 is the best way to defend, but it's still not enough. White will still win this. However, Arjun played rook to f8 here, and now the position is completely winning, but there's only one move that wins the game, and the one that Arjun missed. It's a very easy move to miss, so feel free to pause the video and win the game for Nikolas. Take down a 27-61 Arjun Erigaisi while I give you a couple of seconds. I'm sure some of you have missed it, as Arjun missed it himself, but for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, the move is queen to g6. This is what Nikolas played, and he was in this position on move 28 that Arjun Erigaisi resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. I don't even remember when was the last time I've spoken such words. Arjun Erigaisi to resign on move 28 in a classical game against a fairly low-rated opponent. I mean, Nikolas is 26-16, but as you've seen, even in the previous video that I've recommended, he took down Rajabov, I mean, absolutely brilliantly. The problem is now you've moved the rook from c8, so the c2 square is guarded only by the queen, and by playing queen to g6, you have prepared bishop to c2, and there's no defense against bishop to c2. It's just beautiful how weird this position is. What can you play? Let's say you play pawn to a4. Let's say, is bishop to c2 really such a threat? Well, yes. What are you going to play? Queen to f4. Okay, you put pressure on f2. Queen h7 check, king f7, and bishop to g6 is checkmate. That's it. So you can't really play anything. And if you play queen to c5, which, okay, you go after the f2 pawn right away, white still doesn't care. Just bishop c2. You give up the f2 pawn, and once that is captured, let's say king h1, there's nothing more. If the pawn wasn't on d5, if the bishop was opened up, maybe you could do something. But here, there's just nothing. You will suffer the same fate, and you will the exact same checkmate will be delivered. So not an everyday occurrence. Someone taking down Arjun like this. I mean, Arjun is world number 8 or world number 9. Let me just check real quickly. I don't want to trick you guys. Where is my rating list? There is. Yeah, Arjun is world number 8 at 27.58. Now he lost 2.5 points losing this game. So absolutely incredible taking down Arjun like this. And what a move to miss. Bishop to c2. you know, because you had your rook on c8 and your queen on c7 guarding the c2 square twice, and now all of a sudden queen to g6 happens, and there's no stopping bishop to c2. Whatever you play, there's no stopping bishop to c2. Literally any move that black makes other than, let's say, queen to h2 check is met with bishop to c2, and there is no defense. So yeah, that's just the power of the light square bishop. It doesn't matter how you know tucked away it is. You always have to be careful if it assumes a long diagonal. So brilliant stuff by Nikolas. Looking very much forward to what he does in round 3, as he has won his first 2 rounds. After a game like this against Arjun, I mean, you really want to do well in any event. So, you know, hoping for best results for him, and I will keep you guys informed. And as usual, thank you for recommending such a nice game with so many events happening all at once throughout the world. It's of course very hard to keep track of all the games, so using that hashtag suggestion in the comments goes really a long way. So really thank you. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Michael Hildebrand, Fred Ackerman, Uncle at the Bar, Fred at the Library, and Yomi Sibarban for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions such as this one and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. And check out the first link in the description below, Nikolas versus Temur Jabov. You will have a great rest of your day, I assure you. See you soon.